Hello, all, and a very good evening to everyone. Start continuing with our important site series. In this series, we are discussing all the environmental important sites that are important from the UPSC point of view. Okay, so we are discussing the environmental important sites state by state, and in today's discussion, we will be discussing all the environmental important sites that are in the state of Uttarakhand. Now we know that Uttarakhand has some of the very important national parks, tiger reserves, and the protected habitats in the country. And questions have been repeatedly asked depend on the protected areas or the important environmental sites in the state of Uttarakhand. Now, when we say the important environmental sites, so these sites includes the tiger reserves, the elephant reserves, which are present in the state. So tiger reserves are declared under Project Tiger. Elephant reserves are declared under Project Elephant. There are biosphere reserves. Some of the biosphere reserves are even recognized by UNESCO. There are Ramsar wetland sites, the important wetlands, the World Heritage Sites, that is the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, including natural as well as mixed sites. There are biodiversity heritage sites that are declared under the Biological Diversity Act of 2002. There are marine protected areas, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, conservation reserves, and community reserves, all declared under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So, in today's session, we will be discussing about 8 such important sites that are in the state of Uttarakhand. Starting with the Biosphere Reserve, that is the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. So, Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, it is a very large biosphere reserve situated on the northern side of Tripura, of the Uttarakhand, with border with Tibet. So it is situated in the Uttarakhand and it is spread across the district of Chamoli, Pithoragarh and the Bageshwar districts. And it lies in the western Himalayas and is a part of the Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers National Parks. Okay, so this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve comprises of two national parks, two very important national parks. That is the Nanda Devi National Park and the Valley of Flowers National Park. These both of these national parks, when taken together, they are also a UNESCO Natural World Heritage Site that was declared in 1988. So Nanda Devi National Park, along with Valley of Flower National Parks, combined both of these national parks, they are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and both of them are constituents of the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. Now, the geographical features here includes it is dominated by the Nanda Devi Peak, which is the second highest mountain in India. Now, Nanda Devi is one such peak which is located in the western Himalayas, and it is the highest peak which lies solely in India. Okay, so the tallest mountain that we have, the highest mountain that we have in India is the Mount Kanchenjunga, but Mount Kanchenjunga is shared between India and Nepal. Okay, so one face of Kanchenjunga lies in the state of Sikkim, the other face of Kanchenjunga lies in the Nepal. But Nanda Devi is one such peak. It is the highest such peak which lies completely or wholly in India, and it is the second highest mountain in India when we take Mount Kanchenjunga into consideration. Now, the geographical feature includes the deep gorges, the alpine meadows, and the glaciers. Because it is such a tall mountain, so there are many glaciers and the alpine meadows. The important rivers that transverse through this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, and many of these rivers they originate from this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. So the important rivers includes the Rishi Ganga River, the Dholi Ganga River, the Gori Ganga, the Pushpavati River, which are the tributaries, and these all are the tributaries of the Alaknanda. Alaknanda, we know, it joins Bhagirathi and forms the Ganga. The terrain here is rugged, high altitude, and Himalayan landscape is there with snow-clad peaks and glacial valleys. So the western Himalayas are the mighty greater Himalayas, which have the snow-clad peaks. Then discussing the type of vegetation here, it has an altitudinal zonation of vegetation because at every different altitude along this peak, there is different sort of vegetation. Okay, so there are temperate forests up to 3000 meters. Above 3000 meters, there are subalpine forests, the alpine meadows, which are known as the bugyals, and the permanent snow and glaciers at the higher altitude. So if this is the mountain, This is our peak. So starting from lower uh, um, down to up, we have the temperate forest, the subalpine forest, the alpine meadows, and ultimately the permanent slope glaciers at the top. Discussing about the wildlife, so the wildlife here includes the snow leopard, the Himalayan tar, the Himalayan musk deer, sero, the Himalayan black deer, brown bear, goral, and the bharal, which is the blue sheep. The birds includes the Himalayan monal, which is the state bird of Uttarakhand. So Himalayan monal is the state bird of Uttarakhand. The other birds includes the golden eagle, the Himalayan griffon, and there are certain endangered species including the Asiatic black bear, the snow leopard, and the musk deer. Discussing the significance of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, it was declared a biosphere reserve in the year 1988 under UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. So, the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve is a biosphere which is recognized by UNESCO under its Man and Biosphere program, and it is sacred to the local communities. The Nanda Devi peak is considered sacred. So, it is revered as a goddess in the Uttarakhand, and that is why the name Devi suggests the it is revered as a goddess. Now, another important thing about when we are discussing the biosphere reserves or the national parks or any of the protected areas is that what local communities or tribal groups are inhabiting in that particular region. So, the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, it is inhabited by tribal groups like Bhotia and the Tolcha groups, which practice transhumance and traditional lifestyle. So, transhumance is a cattle rearing and pastoral lifestyle. Okay, transhumance is a pastoral practice in which the communities they have herds of cattle and like sheep and goats, and in the summer months they go to the upper altitudes along, and in the winter months they migrate to the lower altitudes. Okay, and the high conservation value due to the unique Himalayan biodiversity and endemic species. Now, this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve is a very important site for ecotourism and trekking, but the trekking and tourism activities are restricted in certain areas. Then after the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, we have the Valley of Flowers National Park. As already discussed, it is a constituent part of the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve along with the Nanda Devi National Park. So it is situated in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand and lies in the western Himalayas near the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. And it was declared a national park in the year 1982 and passed part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site along with the Nanda Devi National Park. And both of these national parks, they constitute the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. Discussing about the geographical features, so altitude, it has a very high altitude starting from 3,200 meters to 6,750 meters. And the terrain includes the high altitude Himalayan valley, snow-clad mountains, the alpine meadows, and glaciers. Now, the important rivers that originate or that transfers through this Valley of Flowers National Park is the Pushpavati River, which is the main river flowing through the valley, fed by the Tipra Glacier. So, Tripla Glacier melts and give rise to the Pushpavati River, which is the main river that flows through this Valley of Flowers. Now, it is surrounded by peaks such as the Gauri Parbat, the Nilgiri Parbat, and the Ratanban. So, these three are the important peaks that surround this Valley of Flowers National Park. The climate here is cool temperate and snowbound in winter. It is accessible only from the month of June to October, that is during the summer on the or the monsoon months. Discussing the type of vegetation, so just like the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, the type of vegetation here mainly is of alpine meadows or the boreals with seasonal blooms of wildflowers. Okay, it has over 500 species of vascular plants recorded. The major flora includes the Brahma Kamal, okay, which is the state flower of Uttarakhand. Okay, so the major flora here in the Valley of Flower includes the Brahma Kamal and the blue poppy, cobra lily orchids, primulas, the Himalayan edelweiss, and marigolds. And along with this floral or the flower diversity, it has also very rich medicinal plants and herbs. The wildlife here includes the snow leopard, the Himalayan tar, the bhadal, musk deer, Himalayan black bear, brown bear, and red fox. The important birds here includes the Himalayan monarch, which is the state bird of Uttarakhand, the Himalayan griffon, and the golden eagle. Now, if this is a valley of flowers, so a lot of seasonal and local, there's a great diversity of flowers are there. Now, for these flowers, these flowers to sustain, okay, they will be needing a rich diversity of the insects and pollinator. So this Valley of Flower National Park, the wildlife here also includes rich diversity of butterflies and the pollinators. So these pollinators and butterflies, they help in pollination and blooming of these flowers. Discussing the significance, this Valley of Flowers National Park, it is known worldwide for its seasonal floral biodiversity and a natural botanical garden of the Himalayas. Okay. It forms a part of the Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, which is recognized under UNESCO Man and Biosphere Program, and it holds religious and cultural significance as local associate the valley with fairies and divine spirits, because this entire valley, it is marked by different it is marked by floral diversity. So legends are there like the fairies and divine spirits, they do come and visit this national park. It is important for scientific research on alpine ecosystem and the climate change impacts. The nearby villages include those of the Bhotia tribal community. So the tribal community that inhabit this Valley of Flowers National Park or lives in the vicinity of this Valley of Flowers National Park is the Bhotia community who practice transhumance. Then the next national park that we have is the Corbett National Park, by far the most famous national park in the state of Uttarakhand. Okay, so it is situated in Uttarakhand, mainly in the Nainital, Pauri Garhwal, and Almora district, and it lies at the foothills of the Himalayas, along the banks of the Ramganga River. And it was established in 1936 as the Haley National Park, which is the first national park in India. So, in the year 1936, the first national park in the country was established, and it was named as the Haley's National Park, the Haley National Park. Okay, but after the independence, the name changed to Jim Corbett National Park on the name of Jim Corbett, who earlier was a hunter, a British, he was a British Indian citizen who was a hunter in the earlier years, but in later years of his life, he was dedicated for the conservation of environment and forests. Discussing the geographical features, the terrain here includes combination of hills, riverine belts, the marshes, grassland, and large lakes. The altitude ranges from 400 meters to 1200 meters. The major rivers includes the Ramganga River, okay, which is the lifeline of the park, the Kosi River and the Son Nadi River. It includes the Pateldun Valley and the Kalagad Dam Reservoir. So the important geographical features here includes the Patli Dun Valley, okay, just like and the most important feature is the Ramganga River and the Kalagad Dam Reservoir. Discussing the type of vegetation, it has the moist deciduous type of forest, and the major species of trees includes the sal, kher, sisu, chirpine, rohini, mango, jamun, and bamboo. Along with this, there are certain grasslands which are locally known as chors. Discussing the wildlife, it is famous for the Bengal tiger and is the first tiger reserve under Project Tiger 1973. So, two particular things to be kept in mind regarding this Corbett National Park or the Corbett Tiger Reserve is that it is the first declared national park in the country, and it is also the first declared tiger reserve in the country. The mammals includes the leopard, wild elephants, sloth bear, Himalayan black bear, sambar, chital, barking deer, hog deer, wild boar, langurs, and rhesus macaw. So a very good uh, biodiversity as come when we say about the wildlife. Discussing the birds, it has over 600 species of birds, such as the crested serpent eagle, Himalayan grey-headed fishing eagle, and the jungle fowl. The reptiles includes the gharials, the mugger crocodile, the king cobra, and the monitor lizard. So it is a very biodiversity rich national park. Now, the significance is that it is named after Jim Corbett, the British Indian hunter turned conservationist and the author. And it is part of the Corbett Tiger Reserve, which includes the Sona Nadi Wildlife Sanctuary. So, this Corbett National Park, along with the Sona Nadi Wildlife Sanctuary, they both of them they constitute the Corbett Tiger Reserve. It is an important ecotourism hub with zones like the Dikala zone, the Bijrani zone, and the Chirna zone. So, many people, many tourists, they go to this Corbett National Park for the jungle safari, and they know that this entire national park is divided into certain 4 5 zones, such as the Dikala zone, the Bijrani zone and the Jirna zone. It provides ecological security to the Himalayan foothills and serves as a natural corridor for elephant and tiger movement. Okay, this entire landscape is an important region for the both tiger population as well as the elephant population. It supports livelihood of local communities such as the Gujars, who traditionally practiced pastoralism. Then, uh, situated close to the Corbett National Park, we have another very major national park, that is the Rajaji National Park. It is situated in Uttarakhand, covering the district of Haridwar, Dehradun, and Pauri Garhwal. It lies along the foothills of the Shivalik ranges. So, both the Rajaji National Park as well as the Jim Corbett National Park. So both of them, they lie at the foothills of the Shivalik ranges. It was established as a national park in 1983 by merging Rajaji, Motichur and the Chila Wildlife Sanctuary. So three wildlife sanctuaries were merged. That is the Rajaji Wildlife Sanctuary, the Motichur Wildlife Sanctuary and the Chila Wildlife Sanctuary. And after the merger of these three wildlife sanctuaries, uh, this Rajaji National Park was established. It became part of the Rajaji Tiger Reserve in 2015. So the geographical features here include the altitude from 300 to 1350 meters, not very high. The rivers includes the Ganga River, which flows through the park along with its tributaries like Song, Suswa, and Ravasan. So the most important river that we have to keep in mind is the that river Ganga flows through this Rajaji National Park, and the Ram Ganga River flows through the Corbett National Park. The terrain includes the Shivalik Hills, the river valleys, the alluvial plains, and the dense forest. The climate includes a subtropical monsoon with hot summers and cool winters. The type of vegetation that it has, mainly the northern tropical moist deciduous forest. Just like the Corbett National Park, the major species of trees include sal, which is the dominant species, the teak, acacia, chirpine, bamboo, bear, jamun, and rohini. And it is famous for Asian elephants, which is also a part of the Rajaji Corbett Elephant Reserve. So this entire region is also an elephant reserve, known as the Shivalik Elephant Reserve or the Rajaji Corbett Elephant Reserve. Okay. The other mammals here includes the tigers because it is also a tiger reserve, leopards, sloth bear, striped hyena, jungle cat, golden jackal, nilgai, sambar, chital, barking deer, wild boar, langur, rhesus macaw. And the reptiles include the king cobra, python, monitor lizard, and crocodiles. Now, the significance is that it provides a vital corridor for elephant movement between the Corbett as well as the Rajaji landscape. Okay. Then it was declared a tiger reserve in the year 2015. So that is why it is vital for the preservation or the conservation of species, the Asian elephants as well as the Indian tigers. It is important ecotourism destination near Haridwar, Rishikesh, and Dehradun and supports livelihoods of the nearby forest-dependent communities. The local tribes or the forest-dependent communities are the Gujars, which reside around the park, and many has relocated for the conservation. Okay, so in many ways, this Rajaji National Park, be it the vegetation, be it the wildlife, be it the uh, local communities. So the Rajaji National Park and the Corbett National Park, they share a lot of these things in common. Next we have is the Gangotri National Park, which is situated in the Uttarkashi district of Uttarakhand. It lies in the Upper Gadwal Himalayas. Okay, so we know the state of Uttarakhand, it has majorly two regions, that is the Gadwal region as well as the Kumaon region. Okay, so the Gangotri National Park lies in the Upper Gadwal Himalayas and it was established in 1989, part of the high altitude Himalayan protected areas. And it covers the catchment of the river Bhagirathi. Now, Bhagirathi merges with Alaknanda to give rise to the Ganga River. The altitude ranges from 1800 meters to 7000 meters, very high. The terrain includes the glaciers, the alpine meadows, the rugged cliffs, as well as the snow-clad peaks. The important glaciers in this Gangotri National Park includes the Gangotri Glacier, which is the source of the river Bhagirathi or Ganga, as we call it, the Khatling Glacier, the Dunagiri Glacier, as well as the Kedartal Glaciers. So many important glaciers are in this Gangotri National Park. The major rivers includes the Bhagirathi, which is the main tributary of Ganga and its feeders. The climate here includes the climate here is very cold, dry, alpine with heavy snowfall in the during the winter months. The type of vegetation here is the subalpine and alpine type of vegetation because of the high altitude. At the lower elevations, there are chir, pine, deodar, fir, oak, and rhododendron trees. And at higher elevations, there are birch, juniper, and alpine shrubs. And above the tree line, okay, there are alpine meadows, boogyals, and snow-covered areas. So, just as we discussed with in the case of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, the vegetation in the Gangotri National Park shows the altitudinal zonation. Then the wildlife here includes the snow leopard, Himalayan tar, the bharal, which is the blue sheep, the Himalayan black bear, musk deer, sero, and goral. The birds here includes the Himalayan monal, which is the state bird of the Uttarakhand, the Koklas pheasant, the bearded vulture, golden eagle, and snow pigeon. Now, it protects, the significance is that this Gangotri National Park, it protects the Gangotri Glacier and which is the sacred source of Ganga. Now, River Ganga is very sacred in India, and its source or its origin, Gangotri, is even more sacred. So it becomes even more sacred of the source of the sacred river. So protecting this, declaring it as a protected area, it protects the Gangotri Glacier. Now, it is also an important habitat for snow leopard and high altitudinal Himalayan fauna. And it is rich in glacial as well as alpine ecosystem, which are crucial for climatic studies. Now, this Gangotri National Park and the encompassing of the Gangotri Glacier, it holds an immense religious significance for Hindus as Gangotri is one of the Char Dham pilgrimage sites. Okay, so in the state of Uttarakhand, four, we have what we call is a mini Char Dham Yatra that is considered sacred for the Hindus. That includes the Gangotri, which is the source of Ganga, the Yamunotri, which is considered as the source of Yamuna, and the temples of Kedarnath and Badrinath. So these four are considered as Char Dham Yatra within the state of Uttarakhand. The local communities here includes the presence of Bhotia tribe, and within that particular tribe, the Jad and the Marcha groups, and they practice pastoralism and the seasonal migration. The next national park that we have is the Govind National Park, which is situated in the Uttarkashi district, and it lies in the upper Tons River Valley, Western Himalayas. It was declared a sanctuary in the year 1955, and part of it was notified as a national park in the year 1990. So the geographical features includes it has a very high altitude of 1400 meters to 6300 meters, and the major rivers includes the Tons River, which is the largest tributary of Yamuna, which flows through this park. The terrain includes the steep ridges, alpine meadows, glaciers, as well as snow-covered peaks. The important peaks here, okay, so this Govind National Park, the important peaks in this Govind National Park is the Swargrohini, the Black Peak, which is Kalang, and the Bandarpunch Peak. Okay, so these three are the important peaks, and the glaciers includes the Harkidun, the Jondhar, as well as the Ruinsara glaciers. So, discussing the important geographical features of this Govind National Park, it includes the Tons River, which is the largest tributary of River Yamuna, the Swargrohini Peak, the Black Peak, that is the Kalanag Peak, as well as the Bandarpunch Peak. Then the vegetation here, it also has the altitudinal zonation of vegetation. So at the lower reaches, at the lower altitude, there are subtropical forests, including chir pines, sal trees at lower elevations. At the middle elevations, there are temperate forests, and even above, there are subalpine forests, and at tops, there are alpine meadows beyond the tree line. And there are rich in medicinal plants and herbs. The wildlife here includes the snow leopard, the Himalayan tar, the sero, musk deer, Himalayan black bear, the brown bear, goral, bhadal, and flying squirrel. The birds include the Himalayan moral, which is the state bird of the Uttarakhand, the Koklas pheasant, western tropogon, the golden eagle, etc. The endangered species includes the snow leopard, the western tragopan, and the musk deer. Then the significance of the Govind National Park is that it is part of the snow leopard conservation project. Because of a good population of the snow leopard, it was included as a site in the snow leopard conservation project, and it protects the unique Himalayan alpine ecosystem. It has popular trekking destinations such as the Harkidun Valley, the Ruinsara Tal, and the Swargarohini peaks. It is the cultural significance is that Swarg Rohini link is linked to Mahabharat as the Pandavas ascent to heaven. So the Swarg Rohini peak, okay, which is an important peak in this Govind National Park. So the name Swarg Rohini means that going towards the heaven. It means going towards heaven. Now it is believed that it is the peak which the Pandavas they ascended to, they climbed when they ascend to the heaven. So after the Mahabharata war, after the Pandavas have ruled the Hastinapur for many years. So at the end of their lives, the Pandavas they started their ascent towards the heaven along this along on this Swargrohini peak. Then the important tribal groups here includes the Bhotia tribe, particularly the Jad community or the Jad group. The next important environmental site that we have is the Shivalik Elephant Reserve. Okay, it is a large elephant reserve. It is situated in Uttarakhand, covering the parts of Dehradun, Haridwar, Pauri, Garhwal, Almora, Nainital, Champawat, and the Udham Singh Nagar district. So it is a very large forested area. It was formally notified in 2002 under the Project Elephant, and it is largest among the three elephant reserves of the Uttarakhand. Others are the Terai and the Uttar Pradesh adjoining reserves. Okay. The geographical features includes it lies in the Shivalik foothills and the upper Gangetic plains. So, just like the Corbett National Park and the Rajaji National Park, the Shivalik Elephant Reserve also lies in the foothills of the Shivalik ranges. The major rivers that transverse through this elephant reserves are the Ganga River, Song River, Suswa, Kho, Gola, and Sharda River. It encompasses of the important protected areas such as the Rajaji National Park, the Corbett Tiger Reserve, the Son Nadi Wildlife Sanctuary, and the Motichur and Chila forest divisions. Okay. The type of vegetation here includes the tropical and subtropical moist deciduous forest, as we have discussed in the case of the Rajaji National Park and the Corbett National Park. The dominant tree species here includes the sal tree, the kher, the sisu, rohini, jamun, chirpine, and the at the higher slopes. The flagship species here is the Asian elephant, which is has the largest population in North India. So this Shivalik Elephant Reserve, which encompasses of the Rajaji National Park, the Corbett National Park, and the entire landscape, this has the largest population of elephant in the northern India. The other mammals here includes the tiger, leopard, sloth bear, striped hyena, wild boar, sambar, cheetal, barking deer, and rhesus macaque. The birds here includes the great hornbill, crested serpent eagle, and the black-necked stork. The reptiles includes the gharial and mugger crocodile, which lives in the rivers which transfers through this elephant reserve. It was recognized as a critical elephant corridor connecting the Rajaji and the Corbett landscapes, and it provides a safe habitat for over 2,000 wild elephants, making it a stronghold for elephant conservation in the northern India. It is part of the Shivalik Terai Elephant Reserve, okay, and it is the North India's largest elephant landscape. It faces pressure, okay, from urbanization, from the infrastructure that is highway, railways construction, and the hydropower projects, which leads to the frequent human-elephant conflicts. The local communities like the Gujar community, they traditionally depended on the forest resources, and many of them have relocated to reduce the man-elephant or man-animal conflict. Then finally, the eighth important environmental important site that we have is the Asan Conservation Reserve. So it is a conservation reserve and also an important Ramsar site in the state of Uttarakhand. So it is both a conservation reserve as well as a Ramsar site. It is situated in the Dehradun district and it is situated near the confluence of the Asan River and the Yamuna River. It is about 40 kilometers from Dehradun and close to the Himachal Pradesh border. It was declared a conservation reserve in the year 2005. So conservation reserves are declared under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 and it was also recognized as a Ramsar wetland site in the year 2020 and it's the first Ramsar site in the state of Uttarakhand. The geographical features here includes it is formed at the Asan Barrage which was created in 1967 at the confluence of Asan and the Yamuna rivers. The type of wetland, because it is a Ramsar wetland site, so the type of wetland here, it is the man-made reservoir and the associated marshes. The type of vegetation here includes the freshwater wetland vegetation with aquatic and semi-aquatic plants. The common flora or the common vegetation here includes the taifa, the water hyacinth, the reed grasses, and the submerged aquatic weeds. And the surrounding land uh, area, the surrounding forest includes the sal and the mixed deciduous vegetation. The wildlife, it is known for the avian diversity. So, like all the wetlands in the country, okay, all the wetlands and the Ramsar site. So, this is also an important site for the avian diversity or the bird biodiversity. It includes the migratory birds such as the ruddy shelduck, the red-crested pochard, the northern pintail, the bar-headed goose, the raptors including the osprey, marsh harrier, and the critically endangered species of birds, particularly the red-headed vulture and the bear's pochard. The significance is that it was declared a Ramsar site in the year 2020 due to its international importance for the waterfall conservation and serves as a wintering and staging ground for the migratory birds coming via the Central Asian Flyway. So, the Ramsar sites or the wetlands in the state of Uttarakhand as well as in the state of Uttar Pradesh that we have studied earlier. So they are an important staging ground along the migratory path along the Central Asian Flyway. It provides ecological services such as groundwater recharge, flood control, and fish breeding ground for fishes. So the Ramsar sites, they also provide very important ecological services. And it supports bird watching and ecotourism. It is important for local folk as well as the communities who depend on the wetland resources. So these were the 8 environmentally important sites that we studied in the state of Uttarakhand, including a conservation reserve, including the Biosphere Reserve, the national parks, the tiger reserves, as well as the elephant reserve.